Happy Friday, I'm Carol Schulte and welcome to another edition of my Happy Friday video blog. And greetings where I'm coming to you live from the beach here in Valencia, Spain. I couldn't be in this beautiful city and not show you La Playa at some point, right? Now I know what some of you might be thinking. You are so lucky, so fortunate to have been living and traveling and seeing so much of the world this year. And it's true, I am. I feel very, very fortunate to be able to do so. And yet that doesn't necessarily mean that I am immune to everything happening in the world. But to that effect, sometimes I don't know what to do. I found myself having a very interesting conversation with a fellow remote who is very much involved in the news world and politics and really has her hand in the state of affairs and the current events. And I admitted to her that I felt a little bit guilty and that I wasn't up to date with what was going on. And sometimes when I hear the news, I turn a blind eye because I don't know what I can do. And I know that I'm not alone in feeling that way. I have clients and friends who were in Turks and Caicos when both Maria and Irma hit. I have friends that I met in Mexico City, and having lived in Roma Norte, in the place where the earthquake really affected in January, made it that much more closer to home. There is a lot of things happening in the world that are scary, that are unfair, and that really warrant our attention. And yet how do we know what to do? Do we send money? Do we send resources? Do we have to go on their hands deck? And what I've come up with is that there are some things that we can do, but it doesn't necessarily mean going to the scene of the event or sending people or money or resources overseas. So today I want to share with you 3 things that you can do that will make a difference. Because the worst thing that we can do is to turn a blind eye or to stay stagnant or complacent when it just seems so overwhelming and we don't know where to start. The first thing that you can do, be more of who you already are. What do I mean by that? This week I had the pleasure of delivering my Spark Your Genius workshop here in Valencia to locals, to expats, and to a lot of the remote year group. And the idea behind this workshop is to get clear on who you are, what your unique gifts are, and how you can share those best with the world. And one of the biggest points of discussion that came up was that we don't necessarily have to attack all of the causes that are out there. We don't necessarily have to be the journalist or be the reporter or be that person who raises their hand and wants to get involved in office or writing bills. That each of us have a unique calling and we need to honor that. So be true to who you are, and whether or not you are someone who loves performing, or you're somebody who loves writing, or you are somebody who's really good at negotiating, or you're somebody who's really good at baking brownies, do more of that because the world needs what you have to offer. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes of Martin Luther King Jr. If a man or a woman is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep the streets even as Michelangelo painted, Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep the streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause and say, "Here lived a great street sweep who did his job well." So whatever it is that you feel called to do with your life, do that. Honor that because the world needs it. The second thing that you can do is choose a cause. Whether or not it's climate change, whether or not it's poverty, whether or not it's education or racism or equality in whatever way, shape, or form. If there is something that speaks to you, take action on that. A lot of us have a lot of different causes and passions, and that is a good thing. But if we try and do everything and be all things to all causes and all people, we're not going to get anywhere. So choose something that speaks to you and then do your part to be active in that arena. And finally, number 3, do small things that make a big difference. Don't underestimate the power of picking up a piece of garbage that you see on the street, or smiling at a stranger, or making friends with somebody in a coffee shop who might need your listening ear. Those small things have a big positive ripple effect. And I truly believe that each of us has the power to make a lasting impact and ultimately create our own legacy by doing those small things. So take on one of these ideas this week. Be more of who you already are, choose a cause to get involved with, and take those small pieces of action that ultimately will make a bigger difference. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you what you're committed to doing, and I would love for you to share this video with somebody in your life that you too think could benefit. Let's keep the conversation going. And until next time, I'm Carol Schulte, and don't forget to keep dreaming big, playing big, and living big.